Here we have the integral of 1 over x squared times the square root of x squared minus 16. And since we have the expression square root of x squared minus, think of this as a squared, x squared minus a squared. So we will let x be a secant theta. And so first, we will let a squared be 16. So let a squared be 16, or a is 4. And then let x be a secant of theta. A is 4, and so x is equal to 4 times secant of theta. The derivative of x with respect to theta, recall that the derivative of secant is secant tangent. And so we have 4 times secant of theta times tangent of theta. So dx is equal to 4 times secant of theta times tangent of theta times d theta. And now let's write the expression square root of x squared minus 16 in terms of theta. X is equal to 4 secant of theta. X squared will be 4 secant of theta squared, which is 16 secant of theta squared. Common factor of 16, so we have 16 times secant squared theta minus 1. From trigonometry identities, secant squared theta minus 1 is tangent squared of theta. The square root of 16 times tangent squared is 4 times tangent of theta. So the integral of 1 over x squared times the square root of x squared minus 16 is equal to the integral x is 4 secant of theta, so x squared would be 16 secant squared theta. The expression square root of x squared minus 16 is equal to 4 tangent of theta. Dx is 4 secant theta tangent theta d theta. Here we have 4 tangent of theta dividing by 4 tangent of theta, so that's 1. 4 tangent theta dividing by 4 tangent theta is 1. Secant of theta dividing by secant squared is 1 over secant of theta. And then we have the 16 on the bottom here, and so here we get 1 over 16. One over secant of theta is cosine of theta. The integral of cosine of theta is sine of theta. The original problem was in terms of x, and so now we need to rewrite sine of theta in terms of x. Earlier we have x equal to 4 times secant of theta. Divide both sides by 4, we get secant of theta to be x over 4. By definition of secant, secant is hypotenuse over adjacent. So this is theta, the hypotenuse, this is the adjacent, and this is the opposite. In this case, the hypotenuse is x, the adjacent is 4. And so we need to find the opposite side. This is a right triangle, so we have opposite side squared plus adjacent side squared is equal to hypotenuse squared. We're looking for the opposite side. The adjacent side is 4. The hypotenuse is x. 4 squared is 16. And so we get opposite side squared is equal to x squared minus 16. Take the square root of both sides, we get the opposite side to be the square root of x squared minus 16. Sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. The opposite side is the square root of x squared minus 16. The hypotenuse is x. So sine of theta is the square root of x squared minus 16 over x. And therefore the integral of 1 over x squared times the square root of x squared minus 16 is equal to 1 over 16 times sine of theta, but sine of theta is this. So this is the final answer.